welcome back to another episode. And let me tell you something, we're back to having a beautiful day. We are going to have a beautiful day today, guys, but we're not here to talk about that. Oh no, today we're going on an adventure. Today we're going on an adventure into Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. I finally got to play it. I finally got to finish it. And I want to take my time on describing what an amazing cinematic, artistic, interactive, and just fully functional. This game takes a movie, and if I could say, in my opinion, this is the definition of what a movie should be in a video game. And I had already played a little bit of it a while back, before it got announced Xbox's Game of the Year, but I wanted to replay it again so that way I can fully get the experience, because this game starts out with the classic scene from Raiders of the Lost Ark, and by that it's when he enters the Blood Temple, and then this cursed temple, he needs to get the golden statue, and when he switches it with a bag of sand, he has to escape. Thus, the famous running away from the boulder. And what I like most about this game is the fact that it takes graphics, and not only do you portray characters and settings and design and all that good stuff, but when you take it and you start implementing camera angles, certain movie magic, it's possible to do it in video games. I don't know how much more difficult it is to do something like that, but honestly, it's amazing. I mean, every single moment of fright, whenever a character gets startled, it's like the angle of the camera adds to the effect. And that's such a classic Indiana Jones movie, to where they all do that, and they all have this traditional sense of not only finding the treasure, but character development between each other, themselves, and in the end, of course, we know that there is a treasure to find, or invaluable object to find. But man, oh man, just the little details along the way can turn a regular adventure into an experience. There's a certain sense of camera magic that I feel like if you were to add that to a video game, it just gives you that extra oomph. And this is what this game does. So, of course, once we start out with the infamous scene, we realize it's all a dream. So Indy wakes up in his college. He's back at home. It's another regular day back in the 1930s, and he's woken up and he hears something, to which he wants to investigate. And as he investigates, he sees that his office is trashed. Certain objects are like destroyed all over the place. So he's like, there's definitely something going on here, and I need to go find out. Of course, once he goes downstairs and realizes that there's somebody there, he's about to put the whoop on. indie style. But when this figure all of a sudden stands up, it's like twice the size of a man. And you know, it doesn't go his way per se. So he gets knocked out by this giant, and when he wakes up, we need to find out exactly why he was there. So after looking around, we can tell that there's a cat mummy statue that's missing. And then what's interesting about this is that the giant left an item of his possession when he entered the building, when he broke in to the library. And after doing some research, we find out that it's actually a seal to the Vatican secret archive. So finding out this information, that's when Indy's like, okay, well, we know where we need to go. We need to go to Rome. And you know, he has his co-worker, and he's letting him know, like, Indy, if you go, like, you know, you're gonna risk your job. Like, you can't run away from your problems. And Indy is like, watch me. And he does. And which, look, long story short, he gets fired. Okay, I'm gonna let you know right now, he gets fired. And it doesn't really matter, because like in the traditional fashion, you know, I'm sure we get to find something awesome, he gets to report it, and then all of a sudden he gets medals, and then of course he gets reinstated back into his job. So, you know, you can't go wrong. Can't go wrong with that. We go all the way to Rome, where he has a contact by the name of Antonio, and it's gonna help him into getting more information about this seal. So once we go to Rome, Antonio needs us to get a camera, and we take some pictures around town of some symbols that are just a little strange. We take these pictures, and then we get detail in regards to certain symbols and messages that, in the end, it's like code language for a secret entrance under the Vatican. So as we're doing this, it's mostly puzzle solving. So this entire game, you do have the option of shooting, and yes, there are some parts where you are required to shoot bad guys, just like in the movies. I mean, here's the dip. It happens in every single movie, and of course it's not intentional. It's just that sometimes you're in the position where you have to. So, but most of the game, I actually used the whip. Either used the whip or just picked up an item and just beat everybody up with it. Which, whenever you pick up items, they do spin. So after like a couple of hits, they will break, and then, but you'll be able to find a different one right away. So there are a lot of items around. Solving these puzzles, we finally get more information as to what is happening, because we do get to meet our bad guy, and in typical fashion, of course, it's going to be a Nazi archaeologist by the name of Voss, and he gets help from Mussolini into acquiring access into the Vatican to get more information on his research. So throughout the game, knowing that they're looking after something, the cat mummy is really what they're after, and they break it. Once breaking the mummy statue, there's a stone on the inside, and Indy had no idea about this stone. And that's where like the real mystery starts, alongside also meeting another character by the name of Gina Lombardi. And in Gina's quest, she is looking for her sister, who is working for Voss. So after encountering her a couple of times, you basically stick together. And I say that in this game, Gina is going to be like the new romantic interest, because in every single movie there's always a romantic interest. So that's also another element of the traditional Indiana Jones formula. So then we go to the deserts of Giza, And this part sucks a little bit because I don't know how this happened, and I looked it up, and it seems like as long as you have space, you can have a limited amount of videos. But for some reason, I guess I had so many captures on the Xbox that it never saved like half of the Giza. So it kind of sucks because I missed out most of it. But what really matters is that there are more puzzles to go through. And then once you get to the very end, to where finally you can locate the next stone, there's a part where, man, I wish I had that capture. It scared the crap out of me the first time. But you soon find out that there are giants that guard these stones, and also the giant that you meet in the Vatican that's the protector of these stones. But it's in the dark, so you get to fight this giant in the dark, and he can't see you, but he can hear you really well. So of course, the first time I encountered this giant, like I did jump. It was a little scary, I'm not gonna lie. But after defeating him, you get the next stone. The next zone we go to is the Himalayas, to which I want to say it's almost like a foreshadow, but it's a little bit of a surprise that there's a giant ship on top of a mountain just hanging off the cliff. And it makes you wonder, like, how the heck did that get up there? And we'll find out soon. So as we go up the mountain and we make it into the giant ship, we traverse through it, and of course we found out some sad news that we find Gina's sister, and it's sad because she actually passed away. Of course, finding this information, it's very sad, and you know, Gina breaks down for a little bit, but then all of a sudden she gets mad, so much so that she whoops ass. And yeah, she can definitely whoop ass. So now we go all the way to the top of the ship where we find the next stone. Once we retrieve the next stone, of course, Voss appears out of nowhere, and it's a matter of a gamble because he captures Indy, and Gina has the stone, so it's up to her to hand it over to Voss. And instead she hands him a grenade. That's a little interesting because what happens next is that it blows and the boat starts going down. Now Indy and Gina, they're falling, and during the game we also find out that every stone has like a word per each stone, and it's like an ancient lost language. So when Indy mutters this word, basically what happens is that it causes them to teleport, and they teleport all the way to Shanghai, which is insane. To their surprise, they're like, how the heck did we get all the way over here? So beat up some bad guys, you know, take some names, and of course we keep going through the game, and we find out some information on where the next possible location of the stone is. Once we get this information, we learn that it's going to be located in Sukhothai. When we go to Sukhothai, there's like a battle that goes on between the local people and the Nazis themselves. And what's crazy is that Indy befriends Uncle Sunan, which is the chief of the village, and what they're upset about is that they don't like how the Nazis are messing up their land and they're trying to steal their culture. And because they know that Voss is an archaeologist, when Indy lets them know that he is also an archaeologist, they don't trust him at first. So after a while, Indy convinces them that he is trustworthy, that he is doing the right thing. And so Uncle Sunan approves of him. And he gives us a riddle to the next location of the stone. So giving us this next puzzle, it's located in a temple, and it's under the temple. And getting there, it's not that it's difficult, because it wasn't. But let's just say that you encounter a giant freaking snake. Okay? See, that part I was not expecting in this game. So you gotta fight this giant freaking snake. And throughout the game, the giant from the college keeps appearing. And we find out his name is Locust. And he keeps trying to take the stones from you because he's trying to protect them in the end. He's like a protector of the stones. So he's one of those giants that he's very persistent, because he knows something about them that we don't know, and that's the mystery, is finding out what that is. So battling the snake together, in the end they defeat the snake, and they kind of collaborate together between Indy and the giant. But still, the giant still has, like Locust himself, he still has his main objective. So it's something where like you can't really change his mind. And towards the end, once you get the next stone, Gina gets abducted by Boss. And this is where it gets interesting, because throughout the game, like, Indy starts getting, starts taking an interest in her, and like starts caring for her. So now when they take her, he's like, no, like, we gotta go get her. Like, we gotta go get her now. And he tells the giant, like, I need the stones, and I need to go save her. And he's like, okay, alright, here you go, man. You do your thing. You go ahead, basically that's what happens. So we then go to Iraq, and by this point we've been around the world already. So we go to Iraq, to the final location, and here, of course, we got to traverse through the camp full of Nazi soldiers, and we got to reach Gina to save her life. And once we save Gina, of course, now we gotta encounter Voss, and we gotta whoop his behind. And let me tell you something. As you play this level, you get to find out what the mystery is, and it's interesting. So the whole time, Voss has secretly been keeping Noah's Ark underground, which is interesting, because out of all the things in the game, I never really thought about that at all. So there's the actual Noah's Ark, and we find out that the reason why Boss has been collecting these stones is because there is a statue on Noah's Ark, and on the statue there are 17 slots in which these stones fit. And once you put these stones in and you recite the words in order, you can basically like go anywhere you want, because he explains that the stones by themselves don't work and they're meaningless, which I can understand, because when Indy used one of the stones earlier in the game, anything could have happened. So the fact that he was teleported with Gina to Shanghai from the Himalayas, like, that's insane. Like that's crazy that they even survived. So that kind of gives it a little bit of context into understanding that you do need to have all the stones. So putting all the stones in place, as boss is reciting all the words, Indy's screaming like, don't do it, you don't know what you're doing, which is true. Like, none of them know what the heck they're doing. And then all of a sudden something gets activated, and there's like a giant portal that appears in front of the ark. Thunder, lightning, like there's a storm all of a sudden. It's hailing and it's raining like crazy, and basically the flood is occurring because of what boss initiated. And all of a sudden Locust appears. He then takes hold of the wheel, per se, of the ark, and he's trying to steer it, and he screams to Indy and Gina to get off the boat. So then they do so, and he tells boss, like, I told you to get off the boat, you didn't listen. And then boss just so happens to stand, like, to try to like block the wheel, and then he gets hit by like a ray of light and dies, and that's pretty much it. The ark disappears, and then Locust, like, who knows, he's gone. But it's a happy ending. Gina and Indy, they go their separate ways because they basically solve their own mysteries. And who knows if Indy's gonna get his job back. We don't get to find out. They should do an expansion pack for that. But it's a beautiful game, and that's the ending. That's the ending of the Great Circle. So, like, getting to find out through little bits and pieces of the game, like, it was a masterpiece. The music piece was amazing. The soundtrack was great. I loved it a lot. The use of the whip throughout the game, honestly, I didn't use it so much for combat, but it is very useful for traversing throughout the environment. So there are different uses for it, so that way it like maintains like visual appeal throughout the game. Otherwise, I mean, you're just like moving around and traversing and getting up ledges and here and here and there. But it's a beautiful game, and I recommend it. Anybody that's played it out there, and if you beat it, you do know there's like 50 million more things to do. So this game has a lot of things that you could do, and it's great. If you guys played it, let me know down in the comments, what do you guys think about it. If you guys like the video, hit it and subscribe to the channel to give me some support, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. You guys take it easy and enjoy this beautiful day. Peace.